All right, you guys, we're back with another video. My name is Anthony. This is Dad on Sticks, and I got another video for you guys that I want to talk to you about in regards to the Xbox Elite controller and how changing some of the settings inside of the Elite controller's functionality might help you in Battlefield 6. I'm really enjoying Battlefield 6. It's a great game. And before I actually get into the settings, I need to do one quick thing and make a quick little shameless plug. And that is, if you're an old head like myself and you enjoy playing video games and you enjoy maybe drinking some coffee while you're playing some video games, then this sip of coffee is for you. Cheers. Okay, the other thing that I want to make mention of is just the fact that I'm streaming Battlefield 6 quite a bit. Matter of fact, I'm streaming whatever game I feel like playing. And so if you're interested in hanging out with us when I stream, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. You'll get notified when we go live, okay? Now, before I jump into the settings here, I need to talk about something that I did not go too much in depth about in the DualSense controller video, okay? So in the DualSense Edge controller video, I didn't really talk too much about settings overriding each other or who overrides or do they stack or whatnot, right? And so let me get into that really quickly because maybe you might have these same questions with your Xbox Elite controller, okay? Now, the first thing that I want to make mention of is you can change the sensitivity curve of the right stick and the left stick within the controller software, right? You can change how sensitive the sticks are, okay? However, if you look here, let me tab on over. If you look here, you'll see there's an input curve here too. Now, when you boot the game for the first time, as a default setting, the aim input curve is set to standard and the acceleration is set to 50%. It's important to understand that in-game settings override controller settings. So whatever you do in here in your Xbox settings in regards to the left stick and the right stick and the sensitivity curve, okay, it will be overridden in game based on their input curve settings. Now this is mostly speaking to the right stick because the right stick is the stick that we aim with. So no matter what you do in your Xbox settings in regards to the sensitivity curve, that will be overridden by this in-game setting here at standard. So if you want your controller settings to apply in-game and not be overridden, you need to change this infantry aim input curve to linear. This hands the settings back to the controller in regards to the sensitivity curve, okay? Because if you look at here, it just says input curve, right? Linear, standard, and then you have these old Battlefield game input curves from previous generations of games. But it doesn't give you a measurable graph here, like where I'm pointing here on the mouse, right? Like this is something that you can visually look at and see how these changes affect the movement of the sticks. And so you don't get that kind of graph in the game. It's just defaulting to whatever the game offers you, okay? So, in order for your controller sensitivity settings, thumbstick sensitivity settings to be applied in-game, this has to be linear, okay? And this has to be 0. Do those two things, and anything we talk about in regards to the controller settings themselves will apply for you in-game, okay? Now, if I was to be using the Xbox Elite controller, well, I have an idea of how I would be using the controller, but I just want to kind of show you guys some of this stuff in case maybe you're unaware of it. Maybe when you first got your Elite controller, you only messed with the mapping of the buttons and you never fooled around with the sensitivity curve of the thumbsticks. And so I just want to talk a little bit about how adjusting the sensitivity curve of the thumbsticks might help you in a gunfight. And in regards to the left stick, I want to talk about the left stick first, okay? Because the left stick is what controls player movement, forward, back, left, right. Okay. Now, some really shifty guys. Let's go back in here. Go back into the gun range. Nope. Let's go. Let me go into the gun range real quick. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about is this idea. Let's just talk about strafing left and right, okay? Left and right. You're trying to peek a corner to see if a bad guy is there, and you're moving your thumbstick left to right like this, okay? In order for the character to move at max speed to the left or to the right, you have to move the thumbstick from its center axis all the way to the left as far as possible for the character to move to the left or to the right as fast as they can. But if you just slightly tilt the thumbstick, you see how he's moving a little bit slower here? So moving the thumbstick from its center axis all the way to the furthest right, it takes time, all right? And we're talking in the context of milliseconds here. And milliseconds matter in a gunfight when you're trying to duck behind cover and not get shot, or you're trying to peek a corner, right? Or even in the context of pulling on the triggers, right? That travel time matters. And controller players are at a disadvantage against PC players for this reason. And that's really the reason why I'm making this video. It's really to maybe help give you some insight about making some changes here so that you have a better chance in a gunfight, especially a face-to-face gunfight, against a PC player. But let's talk about this for a second. It's not uncommon for players to move left and right when they're in a, if you've played enough shooting games, like you've seen this from people. They're moving left and right, right? And let's say you're out in an open space and you're in a face-to-face gunfight with someone. What's harder to hit, a stationary target or a moving target? The answer is a moving target, right? So moving left to right can be valuable in the sense of now you're becoming a moving target. But listen, the time that it takes to get the stick from the center axis to the furthest point takes time. Unlike pushing a button or a key on a keyboard, that's instantaneous, right? That feedback's instantaneous. You don't have this travel time. So what we want to do is we want to minimize the travel time that it takes for the left stick of the character to get to his maximum speed going left or right. Okay? And we can do that by making some changes to the sensitivity curve inside of the Xbox Elite controller settings here. And for the left stick, I think the fastest way to get to top speed moving left or right is going to be this instant curve here. Now, this instant curve isn't as sharp as the digital one that the DualSense Edge controller offers. And so for that reason, I would actually move this curve adjustment all the way to the top. Now, my character can strafe right or left and get to maximum speed with less travel of the thumbstick. That's all we're trying to do here, okay? So let me go back into the game. Now I'm gonna slightly move the control. See, he's way faster now. He's practically at top speed with just a little bit of a tilting of the controller. I apologize if you can't see this well, but it has made a difference. It has made a difference. This character now moves faster with less travel of the thumbstick, and there's value in that in a shooting game where milliseconds matter, bullet speed matters, getting behind cover matters, damage stacking matters, how fast you get knocked matters, and so there's value in that. So now I can peek this corner much faster, okay? And I can get behind the corner much, much faster. It's the same thing that we talk about like with like the Elite controller and the triggers, right? Like if we go to the, like first of all, we got the mechanical locks, right? And then you can take it a step further with the triggers. So we're doing the same thing with the thumbsticks that we are with the triggers in regards to movement and getting to top speed, right? And that's what I want to bring to your attention. You can make these adjustments to the left stick and the right stick in that regard. Okay? So that's really important to understand. Now, the right stick is a little bit different. This is our aiming thumbstick, okay? Like this is our panning around stick, okay? This is our like aim down sight speed. Those are in-game settings, right? And moving and moving, panning around freely. All that comes down to the right stick. So your mileage may vary. I'm just going to use myself as a reference. I'm an older dude. Well, actually, I think most people will tell you that, especially when you're aiming down sight, you like to lean a little bit more to the like less sensitivity than you do more sensitivity, right? Like if your right stick is too sensitive and you're trying to hit a moving target, you're going to be all over the place. So I think most people will agree that less sensitivity, aiming down sight, is better. But you can make this more aggressive right here in the settings. You can make this more aggressive. Matter of fact, there's an aggressive setting right here. So you can stack the sensitivity of the setting in game a little bit here. But we're talking about aiming down sight and hip fire, right? And so really what we want is nice steady movement. We don't want too much sensitivity or too much herky-jerky from the right thumbstick, right? So I personally, again, reflexes are slowing down. I think smooth is probably a better sensitivity setting for old heads like myself. But maybe you're a little bit younger and you've got great reflexes, then that's for you to change. Find something that you like. I just want to bring it to your attention that these things matter and they can help you in the game, right? Especially like the button mapping and the triggers, right? This is the same thing with the triggers. I already mentioned that. And then what I think is really cool is like you can change the color of the Xbox button, right? I have it set to red. You can't do this on PlayStation, but now it's blue. Ooh, excuse me. Now it's green. Now it's purple. Anyways, I think that's a cool little bell and whistle in regards to the controller. But listen, I want to bring this Xbox Elite controller settings to your attention because maybe you didn't know about the left and the right stick sensitivity options. Like I think most people are aware of the mapping options already, right? And the triggers. And it's been a long time since I've been in an Elite controller setting thing like this. And if I'm being honest with you, it wasn't until recently that I found out about the DualSense Edge left stick and right stick sensitivity settings. So I just wanted to bring this stuff to your attention. Fool around with this stuff, see what works for you. I kind of just pointed out what I would do if I was using this Elite controller. I already talked about what I'm doing in regards to my DualSense Edge. But fool around with this, play around with it for a little bit. Let me know if it helps you. And listen, I just want to make mention of this one more time because I did get a lot of these comments and questions from the last video in regards to the DualSense Edge. In order for any changes to the left or the right stick to take effect in game, you have to make sure that you go into the settings, controller settings, okay, edit here in controller settings. This has to be linear and that has to be 0 for your controller settings to work in game. If it's standard or your acceleration setting is set to 50 or higher, it's going to interfere. Those things are going to override your controller settings, okay? So hopefully I cleared the air on that one from that last video. Again, I'm just trying to bring some awareness to this stuff. I'm not a know-it-all, end-all, be-all. I'm not a gaming encyclopedia by any stretch of the imagination. But I am a gaming YouTuber, a young one. I'm young in my YouTube gaming journey as a content creator. And I just thought this would make for some helpful content in regards to anyone using elite controllers or DualSense Edge controllers who's playing Battlefield 6, okay? I think that's it. Subscribe if it helped you out. Let me know in the comments if it's helpful or not. Let me know if there's questions about it. Let me know if I was unclear about something. Because I am a controller player myself. That's why the channel's called Dad on Sticks, right? Dad on Sticks is in reference to thumbsticks on a controller, okay? I prefer the controller over keyboard and mouse. I tried keyboard and mouse for a little while. It just isn't for me. My kids, however, they force themselves to learn. They're PC gamers through and through. I've been using a controller since the PlayStation 1. I think I'm probably going to be on controller as far as I can, as long as I'm playing video games, right? Which hopefully is for a lot longer. So anyways, I'm rambling now. Let's get out of here. Peace.